Marcus is a UX designer pulling in $108,000 a year, and when you walk into his apartment, you immediately understand where every single dollar goes. There is a 77-inch OLED television dominating the living room wall, a leather sectional, and a kitchen buried under completely unused appliances. But Marcus checks his bank account every single morning with a tight knot of dread. After the car lease, the rent, and the credit card minimums, he is 2 missed paychecks away from a situation that would unravel everything he has built. Next door, James teaches middle school science and earns $51,000 a year. His apartment isn't a furniture showroom, it's just intentional. James opens his banking app on Sunday mornings with his coffee, and he feels something that Marcus has not felt in years, which is calm. Because James has 19 months of living expenses saved, and he automatically invests 22% of every paycheck before he ever sees it land. They live in the same building, in the exact same neighborhood, with the exact same landlord, yet the guy earning less than half the salary has 10 times the financial security. This is definitely not a story about privilege or luck. It is a story about a hidden relationship between your possessions and your freedom that almost nobody in America ever slows down long enough to examine. The entire consumer economy in America relies on the belief that you only pay for something once. You see the price tag, you hand over the money, and the transaction is complete. But that is not true. In reality, everything you bring into your life comes with 2 price tags. The second one is almost always larger than the first, and it never stops charging you. This hidden tax of storage, mental energy, and maintenance is the unseen mistake costing households hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Consider the $900 treadmill. You buy it with the best intentions, use it for 3 weeks, and then it slowly becomes a permanent fixture in the corner of the room. A treadmill takes 20 square feet. With residential space costing up to $55 per square foot, you pay $1,100 yearly in invisible rent just to house a machine. Walking past it elevates cortisol levels. Your stuff literally stresses you out. This logic applies to the bread maker that produced 4 loaves, the camping gear from a single trip 5 years ago, and the photography equipment from a phase that never stuck. Every item has a purchase price, followed by a permanent tax of storage and mental weight. We are paying a premium to warehouse our past impulses. Use the real cost per use calculation, total price divided by realistic uses. A $280 juicer used 8 times costs $35 per use, but a $3,400 bike ridden for 5 years costs $3.27 per ride. Logic replaces marketing. When you run these numbers in the store, a $200 kitchen gadget that makes one specific food you might eat 4 times a year suddenly looks like a $50 per meal mistake. The true expense of an object is determined by its utility, not the sticker price. Major possessions scale these costs further through the lifestyle multiplier. Significant purchases often demand a surrounding ecosystem of secondary expenses. Buying a boat means buying a trailer, insurance, and storage. A $28,000 boat becomes a $38,000 commitment with heavy annual upkeep. Eliminating it instantly severs the entire ecosystem of recurring fees. Removing a single high-maintenance item stops the steady drain on your cash flow, freeing up thousands of dollars previously committed to the supporting infrastructure of ownership. The upgrade cycle is a frequent driver of wealth destruction. It is the habit of replacing functional technology or cars simply because a newer model exists. The average American replaces their smartphone every 26 months. Over a 35-year career, replacing items that aren't broken can easily exceed $200,000. If that $200,000 had been invested in index funds, it would grow to over $1 million over 30 years. Upgrading purely for novelty effectively trades your retirement for a slightly better camera or interior trim, because boredom is not a functional failure. Until an item stops performing its intended purpose, replacing it is a direct trade of your future freedom for a temporary marketing high. To stop the leak, apply the replacement test. If an item disappeared tonight, would you actually open your wallet and spend your own money to buy it back? Most Americans would find that 30 to 50% of their possessions fail this test. These items stay in the home through sheer inertia. Leaving requires a decision, while keeping requires nothing. Every item you wouldn't replace represents money that is locked in a physical object, depreciating in a closet. Removing them clears the psychological clutter and ends the silent cost of storage. High earners often stay broke because they never define what enough looks like. Without a finish line, lifestyle expands automatically to match income, and the gap between earnings and spending never widens. Real security creates a virtuous cycle. As savings grow, the psychological pressure to signal status through purchases begins to loosen. You no longer need visible signals of success when your net worth provides actual stability. Once your financial position meets your needs for security and status, the emotional drive to spend on things that don't improve your life tends to dissolve. Reduced spending accelerates saving, which in turn reinforces that sense of security. Marcus and James live in the same building, but their financial trajectories are miles apart. One has stuff, the other has options. Guarding the space between what you earn and what you spend buys the freedom to leave a toxic job, care for a sick relative, or retire years earlier than everyone else you know. Possessions do not represent success. Options do. And true financial freedom is found in the apartment with less stuff and more freedom.